Hello and welcome to today's Founder Insights. I'm coming to you with Barry Heath, founder of Superpath. How are you, Barry?
Hey Rob, how you doing, mate?
Awesome, mate. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on board.
My pleasure.
Before I get started with any questions, you want to just give us a little bit of insight into Superpath, what it is and why you started it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a bit of a long story, but I'll give you the short little elevator. Obviously, previously working with Go One, as you do, LinkedIn, our good old friend, got hit up by Simon Farrell, just to some help on the learning space, and yeah, it was nothing more than just me helping out during my own time, as we did. We had a lot of time during COVID. And then yeah, just sort of went into it in a full capacity, saw that we're onto something good. We're building what we think is obviously, and most founders would say this is a game changing platform. We really are trying to do things differently. We're building a learning where learning meets experience, and taking the management out of learning is kind of our ethos. So bringing learning management and experience together. We really focus on partnerships as a business model. It really serves us well, keeps us lean, keeps us mean. I know that's an old cliche, but it's really served us well in that space.
Yeah, awesome. And I've been in and had a bit of a play around in Superpath. It's a great solution, and I certainly agree that I think it's a disruptor. So it'll be really awesome to continue to watch your progress. I know you've seen some good success so far, and part of that success is coming from that partner model you spoke about. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about your partner strategy, what it is, and why you went down that path for our founders out there.
Strategy. I love that word, the old buzzword. I kind of it's going to sound weird, but partnerships. Having done this for a long time, particularly in the SaaS space, it's you often get told at board level, investors, private equity, whatever that might be. There's a certain time to trigger and pull off a partner channel strategy. That's often, you'll hear Series A. Do you have product market fit? Have you narrowed down your ICP, your vertical, etc.? I'm kind of have a different way of thinking, and it's never too early to start a partnership model. And again, it comes back as long as you've got a decent product, you've got good people on both sides of the fence, be it yourself as a vendor and your partners. I don't think it's ever too early to start a partner, as sort of a partnership channel strategy. It's the benefit you get out of it from a cost, and we're discussing this before. Our biggest cost here in Australia is our headcount, human resources, space we work in. By setting up a partner strategy and in the correct way, can be so beneficial. I mean, I could ring off warm lead introductions, whether it's white label, referral, whatever that might look like. Sales cycles. Everyone talks about having to clip on the back end and how much of a cost and burden that is. It's actually not. And back to your original point, I just feel like there's never an early. It's never early enough to actually start partnerships. It's in my opinion, and I'm probably biased, but it's definitely a game changer, particularly in the space that we work in.
Yeah, and I mean you're living proof of that, right? So we were
Yeah,
talking before about the number of leads per week you get from some partners, and yeah, it's pretty astronomical. I think you're talking about some partners you're getting 2 to 3 leads per week from those partners. Another partner, what was it in the first month that you got from
yeah.
them?
I mean, probably. I mean, that's nirvana when you talk partnerships, but obviously can't say too much. We just did a soft launch. We're still early days. Haven't gone to market properly. We have a partner, an HRIS platform doing really well in the region, 700 odd customers, full HRIS suite, 10 odd modules, everything from performance, payroll, onboarding, rewards and benefits, etc. Didn't have a learning module, went down the route. Obviously, partnerships is more, there's a lot more to it. I often have a saying that partnerships is basically 95% of partnerships is the work done after signing. Signing a partnership is 5%. It's really easy to do if there's synergies. That the hard work comes after the enablement, the integration, etc. But yeah, within the first sort of 3 weeks of launching beta within their platform, we had 55 signups, which, having not spoken to the customers, fully baked into the product. Just makes complete sense. You know, it's as I said, it's almost nirvana from a partnerships perspective, and really excited when we actually go live.
Yeah, amazing. And from my experience, valuable partnerships that actually work need to be that sort of true 50-50 value realization. And I think,
Oh, spot on, mate. Yeah,
yeah,
it's again a boring cliche, but it's a two-way street. I mean, been in partnership for too long, and often I was having a conversation over the weekend. You know, you find that you know there's bigger players out there, and rightfully so. They've done well in their own right, but it's almost like, you know, if you take learning in our example, and back to what I was just talking about before, HRS, they are the big boys, right? You know, $100 million capital rounds, you know, 700 employees. They are the bigger fish, and it's almost, you know, they're the source of truth. We're learning, and they're expecting leads from us. It's almost an oxymoron in the sense that learning is the last cab off the rank in the HR sphere, right? It's like, we're not going to be able to send you 250K of work. We are last cab off the rank. We can make introductions, but it's, as you said, it's got to be a 50-50 street. Like, a lot of people, it comes down to revenue, particularly when you're talking to partner managers. When you're talking to founders, it's a different conversation. It's more value led. The KPIs sort of come out of it. It's more the strategic thinking you were talking about.
yeah. And in that example that you gave, you know, the value that they're getting from it, obviously, the fact they've had 55 signups in 3 weeks shows that their customers have a need for the learning.
Yeah.
So it's improving their stickiness, it's providing a better experience and more value to their customers. So it's not about the revenue there, but for you, obviously, it is about getting that traction and
And I think the great thing with this
signups.
partnership is, as you said, two-way street. We align from both business perspectives in this particular partnership. They were missing what we provided. Same sort of ICP. Again, bit of an oxymoron talking about ICP, but it made sense. Obviously, a lot of the hard work in terms of building an integration, they completely white label what we do. Makes sense. But the founder and the team there see us as a value add to their offering. It's helped increase their stickiness as well as new customers, particularly by launching their new learning module, obviously being powered by Superpath. You know, as I said, it's more of a value approach on their end, which you don't get often. It's almost like, you know, how much you're going to send us. You said one of the hard points is when you get down to contract negotiation, you often get through the clauses, and then you see a little clause 7.2.1. We expect a minimum 500K in the first 12 months, and it's like, you know quite well, being the last cab of the rank, it's like, we're not going to be able to provide that. So you're getting off on the wrong foot. But having that open dialogue, understanding that we're adding value on both sides of the fence, it's, as I said, from our perspective, this particular partnership is sort of the nirvana.
And I think the other thing there is being agile and flexible, because you mentioned there white labeling. You know, a lot of vendors out there are going, oh, I want to protect my brand. I don't
Yeah,
want to the white label. But I think when you're starting out as a founder trying to get that initial traction, being flexible and being open to things like white labeling is key.
yeah,
So
mate, absolutely. Sorry to interject, but it's like, to your original question, it's like, we're, you know, my sort of take on partnerships is never too early. Obviously, as long as you know, as I said, you've got something, not just trying to sell vaporware. But again, on the partnership side, being flexible in that regard as well. It's like, you know, don't just be sticking to one referral. Like, you've got to open up you never know where you're going to get value, and you can iterate and pivot over time. But being able to offer white label, yes, there are huge disadvantages to it, right? As you said, losing control, etc. There's a number of different things I could ring off, but, you know, it just by having a referral, or, you know, sort of one model in place, you're pigeonholing yourself, and as you know, it's not going to work. Being able to mold that, and being, as you said, flexible, and being able to sort of, you know, go in any one direction, because every partner you have, even if they're in the same space, is going to be completely different. Be it that their price offering, their value suite, and you've got to be able to mold it in. And as you said, make it work for both parties. It's a 50-50. That's partnerships, right? Otherwise, you know, it just doesn't make sense.
yeah, for sure. And you know, you're a little way into your journey now, Baz, and you know, partnerships have been key for you. What else? What other piece of advice would you give founders out there who are just sort of starting out their journey in this space?
Yeah, I mean, It's a really good question. The one thing from a partnership perspective, it's very easy to get really, I guess, siloed is probably not the right word, but in a sense it is. It's, you think, okay, partnerships, what does it look like? You know, in our space, you know, I mean, I'll use Superpath as an example. Our kind of ideal partner would be an HRS system, HR platform that doesn't have a learning module. You'd plug in being that value add, right? Just makes complete sense. We're adding value on their end, makes sense because we provide a gap that they don't have and adding value to their customers. However, a lot of our partners have their own LMS module within their HRIS suite. In fact, one of our better partners have only just released earlier this year their own LMS module. However, most of our customer base actually comes from that particular HRIS suite because they've built a lightweight LMS module to complement the rest of their suite, but we offer that end-to-end, that full learning ecosystem. So, you know, you would think, oh, you kick stones and go, oh, they've just introduced their own LMS. That's, you know, put a red line through that. Don't think like that. But then also thinking outside of the box. I think I was mentioning to you earlier, while having a coffee before we jumped on. It's like thinking outside of the box where, again, bucking the norm. You know, you often hear, this is who you should partner with, who's your ICP, what's their target audience, how many customers do they have, what's their revenue, you know, how many introductions, what's the sales cycle. But thinking of one particular partner for ours don't have LMS and never heard them entertain a conversation in that regard, or I'm talking about LMSs having that. They work in the association and membership space. Now, for us, we're the only LMS partner globally. It's harder work, but it's a cash cow in the sense that, you know, anyone that is looking for learning, we're front of mind, and no one else really wants to play in that space. Yes, because there are a few nuances that come with it, and again, we're not trying to fit a square peg through a round hole. It comes down to that partnership model. This is what you get. We built something, and then yes, we iterate that as we go, but this is what you get. We've got something beautiful, makes sense. And as I said, we're not trying to fit a square peg through a round hole, but by thinking outside of the box and going down a vertical that would not traditionally make sense for someone like us, can actually be a cash cow. So just think out of the box when you're thinking partnerships. Like you'll be very surprised where you'll get a lot of deal flow come from. Something that wouldn't be your traditional, here's your plug and play.
And we were chatting before, as you say, and you mentioned for that particular partner, you've designed a different commercial model. So
Absolutely,
you
you
set
have
it up
to.
in a way, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you think in our space, like most people in the learning space, right? So it's a traditional per user per cost. With platforms that play in the membership and association space, you're talking 1,000 to 40,000. Some have 100,000 members. There's no way you can offer a traditional per user costing model, right? So by simply just implementing a tiered approach, knowing that the usage is not going to be as heavy as what a traditional employee learning system would look like. Again, just having a tweak and rethink it, and still work within the boundaries and your margins. But yeah, as I said, we're not competing with any other competitors. Makes sense, warm referrals, and yeah, we have a good product to back it up, which helps with, you know, just ensure that you're not selling vaporware. I mean, I've done that in the past, and you know, having 20 different tabs opened up with a user profile here as Peter Parker, then the front interface. It's just ensure that you've got something good before you try to sort of go down the partnership route.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I think there's some super valuable tips in there for our founders out there, Baz, and really appreciate your time coming on today.
My
And
pleasure, mate. Always good to
yeah,
chat, Rob.
look forward to catching up again soon.
Yeah, perfect, mate. Thanks for everything.